Tonight, accusations of more mismanagement of your taxpayer money. How SDAG lost nearly $2 million in toll money from State Route 125.
A nonprofit called Rainbow Spaces said it got its application denied by the city of Coronado to use it to host a party for LGBTQ youth.
A federal judge has struck down the CDC mask mandate. What does that mean for when you're trying to get around San Diego?
Homeless encampments lined up along this storm channel in El Cajon. People living around here are fed up with all the trash and debris.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
The SDAG is under fire tonight for losing almost $2 million in revenue because of disconnected toll equipment on State Route 125. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. A tip to the agency's independent auditor revealed the toll sensors were disabled. As CBS 8's David Gottfredson reports, it's the second time in as many months that auditors have discovered a lack of control over taxpayer money.
During June, July, and August, 4 toll pay entries were intentionally unplugged.
SDAG's independent auditor, Mary Koshmashrab, discovered that 4 toll booth readers on State Route 125 had been disconnected for close to 3 months after someone reported it on the agency's website.
It wasn't that just they got unplugged. It was that they got unplugged and they went unnoticed as far as the revenue impact of that, which means there was a procedure missing that should have been there, which is to review reports on a daily basis.
The investigation found a total revenue loss to the government agency of $1.8 million. SDAG's chief economist told the audit committee this month a contractor shut down the toll readers so they could borrow parts to repair other malfunctioning toll readers.
The system there should have been replaced back in 2007. It's literally falling apart, and so what they're doing is cannibalizing certain pay points, taking parts and trying to get other ones working.
Just last month, the independent auditor reported out-of-control spending by managers using SDAG credit cards at local restaurants with missing receipts and unapproved purchases. Regarding the shutdown toll readers, SDAG CEO Hassan Ikrada said the contractor is to blame.
Our contractor is liable, and we're going to seek damages from that consultant.
Though he admitted during a recent board meeting that senior managers found out about the revenue loss months ago and failed to inform the SDAG board.
I take full responsibility for any screw-up like this. This is why having an independent performance auditor for the agency is so important and so critical.
Now, out here live during the rush hour commute, SDAG says the technology in those toll booths, the cameras, the sensors, they're supposed to be replaced starting next month, so this issue may be resolved soon. Meanwhile, the SDAG auditor is going to go before the SDAG board and present the findings of this toll booth investigation on Friday at 9 a.m., and public comment is encouraged.
All right, our David Gottfredson reporting live for us. Thanks, David.
Happening right now in the South Bay, will the prom go on? A nonprofit that supports LGBTQ youth is asking the Coronado City Council to let them use one of its community rooms for a dance. The group says the city actually approved its permit last month and then rescinded it just 48 hours later. CBS 8's Heather Hope is live outside council chambers right now with a look at what's happening at this moment. Heather?
Yes, the Coronado City Council meeting has been going on for over 2 hours now, and the City Council says it will deliberate on this issue, which happens to be the last agenda item, when we'll hear that decision, what they'll decide on the permit.
this beautiful place where they can look out into the bay.
Planning where to set up the Rainbow Soiree decorations for next month. Executive Director of Rainbow Spaces for LGBTQ Youth of the South County, Nadia Keen Ayub, says her nonprofit applied in March to Coronado City Parks and Recreation Department to hold their alternative prom at the city's Nautilus Room for May 13th.
But the soiree is more of an inclusive location where they can come as they are. They don't have to worry about how they dress, the monetary value, because everything's free.
Nadia says the permit application was initially approved by the city to hold the soiree in May.
We were approved, we were excited, we were going to come down and put down the deposit, and then they said they had questions.
Questions about whether all 45 youth in attendance were Coronado residents, and because the majority were not, the permit approval was rescinded.
We are a nonprofit, so we deserve the right to utilize that space.
Nadia, who used to work for the city of Coronado as a dispatcher 6 years ago, held her wedding reception at the same community room she wants to rent for $430 an hour to hold the soiree, was confused how other non-Coronado groups were allowed to use the space previously. She took her concerns to the Coronado City Council.
So the question before the City Council today is more broadly than any one organization.
Coronado Mayor Richard Bailey says the council will need to better clarify the bylaws at its meeting happening right now.
My interpretation of the policy as it's written does allow for non-Coronado-based organizations to have youth activities such as a dance in city facilities. And in just a few minutes here, the City Council will be deliberating on whether or not that is the intention of our policy, and I'm confident that they'll probably agree to that interpretation as well.
Nadia says the Coronado Room is near a bus stop, which would be ideal for many students attending the soiree without cars.
Until they take our deposit, I am going to stay on this to ensure that we have access to this.
So we are still awaiting for that decision. This, again, the last agenda item as they're taking on another hotly contested item about what to do about redevelopment of a park. So we'll hope to get some answers coming up that we'll share later editions of CBS News 8.
Heather, what does this nonprofit group Rainbow Spaces say about the Nautilus Room and other groups similar to theirs, they claim, that have been granted approvals for permits?
Now, Rainbow Spaces says within the city of Coronado's own bylaws that they have also granted approval to rent out spaces to, say, the Kiwanis group in Chula Vista, as well as to the Imperial Beach Boys and Girls Club. So those events have been able to go on planned at the city council, and so they want to know when and if and how long it would take for them to get that approval to hold their prom, which is to come up on May 13th.
Just curious because they were originally granted approval and then that rescinded, so we'll wait to see what answers come out of tonight's meeting. Thanks so much, Heather.
7 new commercial truck lanes open tonight at the Otay Mesa Port of Entry.
And 3. Who needs a tie?
Federal and local officials held a ribbon-cutting ceremony this morning to celebrate the opening of the new lanes. As many as 4,000 trucks pass through the port on a daily basis. This project will increase the number of processing lanes from 9 to 16 and is expected to help relieve supply chain backlogs. Crews are also working on a project that will double the number of pedestrian lanes as well. Police are looking for a couple of men tonight who were caught on camera stealing a statue from a University Heights temple. We first brought you this surveillance video last night. It shows 2 men taking off with a small statue of a monk, then pausing to use a jacket to help carry it away. People who live in the area say they're very attached to that statue, especially young kids who walk by it all the time. San Diego police are asking anyone with information to please give them a call.
Tonight we are honoring the life and memory of a man from the greatest generation. Sergeant Robert A. Mitchell fought in World War II. Today, family and friends gathered at Miramar National Cemetery to say their final goodbyes. CBS 8's Kelly Hessedall shares the touching tribute.
And it was a special tribute. Sergeant Robert A. Mitchell was a Marine veteran. He served in World War II. He was 97 years old, and he was laid to rest today with full military honors.
Breaks my heart. Yeah. We're going to miss him a lot.
The American flag was folded up and presented to Sergeant Robert A. Mitchell's daughter, Janet. His son, Brian, by her side. Moments later, family and friends placed their hands on his casket and said their final goodbyes. Sergeant Mitchell fought in the Battle of Peleliu in World War II. His kids say Dad talked a lot about his service.
He talked about it quite a bit. He has every little scrap of paper from when he was there.
He does. He left us with 11 huge photograph albums, starting with his being a kid to now.
And among the memorabilia was this newspaper article. Sergeant Mitchell had an identical twin brother who enlisted in the military at the same time back in 1942 while they were living in Detroit. The local paper did a story on them. Janet says she talked to her dad every day on the phone.
Same thing every day, just catching up on stuff. Always an I love you.
His kids say Dad was funny, affectionate, and proud. Someone who deeply loved his family. He and his wife had 5 kids. They were married 75 years.
We've been looking at old pictures when they were young, younger than us, of course. And he's had quite a journey. He was proud of his service. He was proud of his family, and he was proud of San Diego.
And Sergeant Mitchell was buried with his wife's ashes. His kids say they'll miss their dad's laughter, his kindness. They say they can't stress enough just how proud they are of their dad. Kelly Hessedal, CBS 8.